Watch Charlie Kirk absolutely smoke a college student on immigration. Legal and illegal alike, but mostly illegal. Folks, I think you're going to like this. It is insane how much ridiculous rhetoric we have surrounding the immigration issue. Constant arguments of, well, actually, illegal immigration is good for America, all this stuff. It's absurd, so we're going to get right into it. But first, do me a huge favor here. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you all this great, hard-hitting content. And as always, Patriots, I am your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
Freeman's come to the front of the line, yes.
So I have a couple points that I want to talk about in illegal immigration. Is it okay if I say all of them with no interruptions? Okay, cool. So first, illegal immigrants power our economy. They're 50% of U.S. farm workers, harvesting the food on our tables, and fill 70% of construction jobs in states like Texas. They pay $13 billion annually in taxes, including $2 billion to Social Security that they can't claim. Deporting them would slash agricultural output by $60 billion and raise food prices by 6%. Why gut our farms and wallets when these workers fuel our prosperity? That's my first point. Second point, they strengthen our communities with lower crime rates. So in Texas, undocumented immigrants have a 26% lower homicide conviction rates, so which is 2.2 per 100,000 versus 3 for native-born citizens. Nationally, immigrants are incarcerated at half the rate of native-born, where it's 0.85% versus 1.71%. That's according to Bureau of Justice Statistics from 2019. So if safety is your goal, why deport people who make our streets safer? This is my third point. Mass deportation tears apart American families. Over 4.4 million U.S. citizens, children have an undocumented parent. And in Texas, 1 in 7 kids lives in a mixed status household. Okay, this is my fourth point. Deportation is a fiscal nightmare. Removing 11 million people would cost $315 to $400 billion. More than the entire Homeland Security budget, and shrink our GDP by 1.7 trillion over 10 years. And this is my last point. Our immigration system is broken, pushing people to cross illegally. Visa waits Mexicans can exceed 20 years, and the asylum blockage is 1.3 million cases, with hearings 4 to 6 years out. Okay.
You done?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, so without looking at the phone, look at me. What should the penalty be for breaking into America?
I think there should be a system where it's more merit-based. So if this person...
No, penalty. So what is the penalty? So what should happen to you?
Felony. It's not a felony, it's a misdemeanor.
No, it is. That's not true. It's 8 U.S.C. 1312. You can look it up right now.
It's a felony if it's done twice. If you try to cross the border, that is correct.
That is not correct.
I Googled it, dude.
To illegally go across the southern border with the well intent to come in to harbor yourself into the interior of the United States, the violation of 8 U.S.C. 1312, which is a felony in the federal criminal code. Now, it can be enforced as a misdemeanor, or it can be upwards of 5 years in prison. Now, I want to know, since it's a felony, law on the books, 8 U.S.C. 1312, what should the penalty be?
Well, in my opinion, these kinds of laws are usually they're what do you call it? They're sorry. Usually the sorry. Wait, sorry. Can I check my phone real quick? I apologize.
This is the problem of informing yourself with facts and statistics and data and studies and all that other mumbo jumbo. People can't even think and reason logically for their own dang selves. Okay, this guy has to go look at his phone so he can pull up his little factoids. Oh, well, XYZ is 50% more than Q. So you're wrong, and therefore it's a fact that my opinion is right. Dude, really? You should be using morality to make your arguments. What is good and just for society? Okay, that's what's coherent, that's what's rational. This is just silliness.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
What should the penalty be for someone that breaks or comes into America illegally? What should the penalty be?
I think there should be a merit system where the people... Okay, the penalty... All right, let's...
That's not the answer. It's a very simple moral and legal question.
Okay,
what should the penalty be if you come into America illegally?
Okay, so since it's a misdemeanor, not a felony... Misdemeanors
I just told you it's not. You can look up on your chat GPT, what is 8 USC... Look up, what is 8 USC 1312?
No, I know. I've already looked it up.
Yes,
when it's your second time crossing the border illegally, then it becomes a felony.
It can be, and it is, enforced as a felony, and it usually is done as a misdemeanor citation because no one has the stones to do 20 million felony applications.
Okay.
So I just want to ask,
yeah,
what should the penalty be then for someone that comes into this country illegally?
Usually there's three ways that go about this when there's a penalty. There's either like a fine, or there's some kind of like public service that this person does, or you send them back. But
send them back. I agree. That's what we should do.
So this is interesting. So one of the statistics that I read said that illegal immigrants don't cause as much like they don't break the law as often as people who are native born.
Well, hold on,
that is a statistic. Time out.
But every single one of them are criminals. They're all criminals.
Okay, sure, by law.
Well, by law.
No, by law, of course. Of course they are.
So if they commit less crime and they're all criminals, wait a second. By definition, they all have broken the law by being here, and they break the law every day by staying here, because you're actually not allowed to stay here either. You know that. So every day you're here, you're actually continually breaking the law. You can't break in or harbor. That's what the federal law says. So by breaking in, it's not just the only law they broke. Every second you remain here, you're also breaking the law. So that statistic is invalidated by just them breathing here. They're breaking the law.
No, of course not. Of course not. So of course it makes sense for them when they're here. They're breaking the law because they're illegal immigrants, obviously. But once they're of course. So once they're here. Once they are here, what kind of harm are they actually doing? When you look at the numbers, statistically,
a lot.
No, that's not true. Okay,
Black wages have gone down.
Okay, in Texas,
DUIs have gone up dramatically.
Try not to interrupt, bro. Okay,
I'm interjecting, and I let you go uninterrupted with your whole soliloquy, right?
Yeah, thank you.
So let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
So, if it is correct that illegal aliens commit less crimes, which of course it's not correct.
That is correct. Look it up. In Texas, they made a study in 2019. 26% are lower.
Is any crime? It's just not correct. But I'm not going to debate that. I just proved it at its face, because they commit a crime by being here every day. That is a crime.
Okay, once they are here, what kind of crimes are they committing? Which is
okay. Well,
they're 26%.
Do you know the name Laken Riley?
No, educate me.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Do you know? Wow. Do you know the name Rachel Morin?
No, I don't.
Wow.
It was at this moment he knew he messed up.
Okay, so Laken Riley was a girl at the University of Georgia.
Okay.
There was a peeping Tommy, a legal alien, that was deported 5 times prior, and Biden kept on letting him back in. He hunted her down, raped her, and murdered her on a hiking trail at University of Georgia.
Okay, so one person doesn't represent all illegal immigrants.
Every person who is an illegal alien is one that should not happen. Every single one.
Of course, and also the ones that are native born.
Everyone. And so that's the point, is that it's not a matter of the rate. The rate, even if I accept your premise, which is incorrect, the rate is irrelevant. The number is what's relevant. There should be 0 illegal aliens. There should be 0 Americans being killed by illegals. Not to mention there's 6 other problems with the illegal aliens. They steal social security numbers. They depress wages. They are heavily involved. By the way, not to mention, a lot of people that cross on the southern border are also smuggling girls, weapons, and drugs alongside the southern border when they come. It's the largest slavery operation in American history that many illegal aliens helped make possible on the southern border. And I guess the final question I'll have is, should a government serve its citizens first and foremost?
Yeah, of course. Well, okay, there's been many people who are like very political leaders who have said that this place is built off of immigrants.
Oh, is it? Wait, hold on. Let's think about that.
Sure.
First of all, it's legal, not illegal. But was America founded by immigrants or settlers?
Settlers.
That's not an immigrant.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's not my point. My point is that people
brought up the nation built by immigrants.
Yeah,
we're actually not.
Because the political leaders have said that this place is built.
Yeah, and they're wrong.
They're wrong. Political leaders are wrong. George W. Bush is wrong. All these political leaders who have built America.
By the way, the first person to say that was.
How is that wrong? When illegal immigrants they grow the economy.
Okay,
statistically,
allow me to build it out for you.
Sure.
Immigrants have helped at times in American history, but we are first and foremost a nation founded by settlers. Immigrants come to a country already built. Settlers come to a barren place and build something new.
Right.
This land was barren when people came. In the 1840s gold rush, this was not an easy place to live.
Yeah.
California was not exactly industrialized. There was not immigrants coming west to California. Those were settlers building a new place around, Western values. Finally, I would just ask the question, do you see a moral distinction between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant?
Well, the argument is that they're cutting in line. Like, the argument is that they're cutting in line in the 20-year process that it would take for someone to cross illegally.
It's not 20, but yeah.
At most, it's 20. Right now, there's around, 1.2 million people who are currently waiting that would take 6 to 7 years for a hearing.
And by the way, no one has a right to come to this country, just to be clear.
Let me stay on track of what I was going to say. Okay, so people who come here, usually, almost all the time when they come here, they benefit society. There's studies that have done this.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but overall in general.
But no, I fundamentally disagree with that.
You can't disagree with a fact.
Hold on, do you think Elon Musk...
And there you have it. Right there, the guy gave himself away. A study by some kind of leftist institution he got it from, no doubt, is a fact. And you're not allowed to disagree with it no matter what. And that's the problem with these lines of arguments, okay? There's a saying I really like. There are liars, and statisticians. Okay, the whole facts and the data and statistics nonsense mumbo jumbo that your people spill out, it doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it is so easy to take those data points and use them to manipulate them into making an argument. Okay, I mean, the illegals committing less crimes is an example. First of all, I don't agree with that. I don't even think that's true. But let's just say, aside from the obvious crime they all committed by coming to the United States illegally, let's say they actually did commit less crimes. Guess what? At the end of the day, every crime committed by an illegal immigrant that victimizes a legal resident or American citizen is a crime that wouldn't have happened had they not been here. You can't argue against that. That is ironically enough, a fact, but it is one, unlike many of these so-called facts, that you can't really counter. It's just true. All right, and Laken Riley and Rachel Moore, those tragic examples, great examples of that, okay? Does it matter that, there were maybe 50 other Venezuelans who came in who didn't commit such a heinous, disgusting crime? No, it really doesn't, okay? Because at the end of the day, that heinous, gross crime happened. And it wouldn't have happened had we had our borders sealed. But open borders Biden didn't care about that.
I'm honest, do you think Ilhan Omar has enriched the United States of America?
I don't know who
Do you think Rashida Tlaib? I mean, I could go through person by person by person.
Sorry, I don't know these people. Are these people who have are illegal immigrants that have caused harm?
Yeah, again, if you don't know, I don't mean to pick on you. It's fine.
Okay,
but I guess the final question is,
sure.
Do you have any concern that there are too many people coming into this country and we're a nation of strangers, not a nation of neighbors?
If the people who are coming are creating America, making it more growing, like the economy is growing, then what harm is that doing? Especially if the people who are coming
are more than an economy, though, aren't we? We're a culture, we're a language.
Yeah,
we're
of course.
people.
Okay, yes. So let's talk about that front. When they come here, they don't have any kind of, they're not committing as more crimes than the people who are already here.
Again,
that is a statistic
we've already
done.
Dispelled that, but
that is not. You can't dispel a statistic.
Let's
what are you
take California.
Talking about?
Do you think there's anything wrong that a majority of young people in California speak Spanish, not English?
Wait, sorry, can you say that again?
Do you think there's anything wrong or troubling to the fact that a majority of people under the age of 30 here in the States speak Spanish, not English?
Crazy.
Is there a problem with that?
Well, yeah, everyone should be able to have an ability to communicate with the rest of the crowd. So I don't know what the big issue of that
See, I think
is.
it's a huge problem when we have a nation where you can't communicate with your fellow neighbor.
Simple solution. Teach them how to speak English. What is your point?
Our schools don't do that, actually. And also, have a better solution.
Yeah.
Don't import a bunch of people that don't speak English.
You mean importing people who actually grow the economy?
Well,
who don't
reject.
What?
I reject your premise.
That's not a premise. That's a study that's been done.
Do you know what a premise is? I don't actually care as much about economic growth because we're one nation under. We're one nation under GDP. We're not one nation under GDP. We're a nation under God. Yeah. And when we lose social cohesion, and you import a bunch of people that don't share our values, that don't necessarily always assimilate, that's a major and serious problem. And we are a people first and foremost with a creed, and that creed is falling apart. Mass migration has not helped that creed. Yes, they might buy more trinkets. They might help depress wages. Mass migration, of course, can help
all good things, all great things for America that needs.
They help major corporations, but you know what they also do? They keep down the wages of working people. If you are a plumber, yes, of course, if you think about it, if you're a plumber, electrician, or a welder, and you have to compete against someone from Nicaragua who's willing to do it for $5 less an hour, that depresses the wages of the American citizen.
Right. Yeah, so there's been studies that have done that also counteract that. Illegal immigrants.
Well, let's use our reason.
Let's look at our studies.
Let's use our reason.
Statistics.
How about our reason? So we've had mass migration for 20 years. Have wages gone up?
I don't know.
No, they haven't actually.
Okay.
So forget your studies. For 10 years we've had 30 million people coming to America. Wages have gone down dramatically. Yeah. Maybe there's a reason why.
In a similar vein to the argument this guy is making here, you'll often hear people say that, well, we need immigrants. We got to bring more in. After all, native-born people in the United States are not having children. So, just replace those suckers with some immigrants from the third world. Hey, why not? We need them. We need the people. How are they going to be supported when they're older? You hear this argument about the United States of America and also about the West more broadly. I've heard it many times. Pure propaganda. Here's an idea from me. Okay, how about instead of importing foreigners endlessly into a nation that's already where people are struggling economically, how about we just make it easier for them to have children? And I get it. It's not just the economy. That's often a cop-out. But making the economy better, all right, encouraging government policies that'll push people towards marriage and childbearing. I mean, I know a good one. This is going to be controversial, but ban abortion. Okay, you're going to have a lot more people getting married and actually taking responsibility for their own actions if you don't make it so easy and ubiquitous like it's, casual birth control or something you just take willy-nilly. And by the way, all birth control is terrible and evil, but that's a whole nother discussion. I'm going to get in trouble, so I'm going to stop talking about that, but it's true.
Okay.
So what I encourage you to do, just because there's a study that confirms, you should use your reason and look actually at self-evident truths. Be like, does that make sense? Can you name
statistics are self-evident?
Well,
truths.
not always. Statistics are very
always?
Misleading. Yes, like for example, I could say, did you know that 600 people a year die because of seatbelts? Well, that's a misleading statistic because over 100,000 lives are saved by seatbelts. That's an incomplete statistic.
Wait, okay, so where's the, so that's a gray area. So where's the gray area where people are talking about where 26% of illegal immigrants who come here commit less crimes than native born?
Okay, we have, how many times have I been over this? That's just not correct.
Well,
it's
that
not
is
true.
correct. That is correct.
Every single crime. It doesn't matter about the
This is a study
rate.
that was done in Texas, the most diverse,
Again,
second most diverse state.
Every crime an illegal commits is one that should never have happened.
Okay.
It is a period.
Yeah, of course,
they
of
should
course.
not be here. So I don't
agree.
care about the rate. The rate is irrelevant. So let me just ask one final
The rate
question.
is relevant.
Someone broke into the country and cut in line. What should happen to them?
Well, they're given. Ideally, there's a system. Ideally, there's a system that's merit-based, where these people then become part of the citizen. Like they become a legal citizen.
Yeah, I mean, we have clarity but not agreement. I say deport them all back to their country of
I don't
origin
think
and
that's
put
not
Americans first.
That's not an appropriate solution. When
Well, the
no.
American people voted for it, and it is appropriate.
It isn't appropriate because most of the people that do come here illegally contribute positively to
Again,
society.
they
Not again,
are-
dude. Statistics.
Who cares? Who cares if they contribute positively? Kick them out. They shouldn't have been here. If somebody moves under your roof and he says, hey, well, you know, I cooked you breakfast, you know, some random invader, are you going to say, oh, okay, that's cool, you can stay. You're positively contributing. No, you're going to kick them the hell out. That simple.
Statistically,
I have
everything
been
backs
through-
this.
You're not
Everything
listening to
backs
anything I'm saying, and that's fine. They take jobs from Americans, they depress wages, they steal social security numbers, they commit a crime every single day that they're here, they flood our public schools, they flood our social services, they flood our hospitals, they are a burden on the taxpayer. They should go back and make their own country great again and apply and become a legal immigrant if they want to live here. Thank you very much.
Boom. Charlie Kirk delivers another effortless takedown once again. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you comment below. Let us know what you liked about the clip, what kind of stuff you'll see in the future, and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again soon. God bless.